the loot. Robo Crook in jail.
Robo Crook.
Wow. A little bit of a blast from the past.
Yeah.
One of my friends was on Winning the World's Carmen San Diego.
Did they get to the round at the end where you have to like put all the capitals, or like you have to like put
So
like it's like a puzzle in the world or something, like geographic puzzle?
So he straight up doesn't talk about it ever. I found out about this because
the chief molested.
I found this out
Locked it out.
because for some kind of
Take those pants down, Gumshoe. Sorry.
Oh man.
sorry. Okay, so your friend was on the show.
Boy.
That's not right.
The reason I found out about it as an adult was because for some stupid bit I was Google imaging Carmen San Diego, and lo and behold, here's a photograph of someone I know as a child.
No.
Wow.
Way.
And I messaged him and I said, "Were you wearing Carmen San Diego?" And there was the like scene on the messenger thing, and then like 2 or 3 minutes, and then he goes, "How'd you know about this? How'd you find out?" I said, "Google image the loot."
I was a pervert searching for Carmen San Diego on Google Images.
I said,
Yeah.
"Your childhood in jail."
That show always like, I'm terrible at geography. Always was, still am. Like, you know that bit that John Oliver always does where he's like, "That's not actually the shape of this country, you mooks." I'm like, you got me again, Oliver, because I never know the difference. But that is a like nigh on impossible challenge that they have to do at the end of that show. Do you remember that?
Where you
I don't
have
remember exactly how it goes.
It was like I think you have to like essentially is a huge map on the floor, and then you have to like run around and like stick a flag in the capital of like, they'll tell you the capital of a country.
Yeah, it's a different country every time.
Right. It's like a list of 10. And it's I feel like nobody ever succeeded. I
remember seeing successes a few times, but it's like
few and far between.
But it's like, who are these kids?
Yeah, exactly. Because you had to be like tall and athletic. You had to know all your capitals, and then you also had to have like
you had to be two people in one.
Yeah, exactly. And it was that thing where like it was easier at home because you had this sort of like bird's eye view. But when you're out there, it's like this 200 square foot area where you're like, where's the Sahara?
You're standing on your tiptoes.
It couldn't have been any harder than the final challenge for Nick Arcade. Do you guys remember Nick Arcade?
So let me tell you something. Not only do I remember Nick Arcade, but in the
my friend was on Nick Arcade.
But in the year 2014, me and my friend Jason, big ups, on Christmas Eve, watched every episode of Nick Arcade, and then went out at 6 o'clock in the morning because I needed yams for dinner for Christmas. So I very much remember. I remember Nick Arcade in general, but I have a very clear view of it because this was only a couple years ago that I watched every single episode, and it is hard because it's like you gotta have a spatial awareness.
Wait, so it was like a live arcade level or something?
Yeah, it was like a live. They like put the kid in the video game in a green screen, but it's like the kid would have to be reacting to all these challenges, and they were sort of animating the stuff in real time over the kid.
So,
and the kid,
how did they know then what to jump?
Because the kid was constantly.
I was watching the screen,
like looking off camera.
It's like a weatherman. You had to be like watching it and reacting to it.
You had to be a weatherman or a Muppeteer. We're just watching the screen like this the whole time.
But also having your body do something else entirely. God, what an impossible thing.
Yeah, no one ever did very well at it at all.
Yeah, so that's why they only made enough episodes that you could watch it in a night.
I mean,
to binge it.
Without commercials, they're actually very short, but there's kind of a lot of them. But you take the commercials out and they're like 15 minutes each.
Was it the Wizard style where they normally played it in the rounds leading up to it? They competitively played games. Like,
there were multiple. Yeah, so a lot of it was like there was like a trivia game show ask question portion where there was like a map, and if you answered correctly, you got to move spaces in the map.
You got
on
the
video game screen. It's too on the nose.
You got to move Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey, who is your avatar. And then you could get the opportunity to do a video game challenge where you would go and literally play an arcade game.
Okay.
And then the final round was the put you in the video game thing.
Was Mikey's full name Mikey of the Mikey brothers?
But they were very much Neo Geo games instead of arcade games. Yeah. So there were a bunch of games that no one had ever heard of.
Right.
Because that's the only way you can it'd be a challenge. Like, you don't put Sonic the Hedgehog in this show in 1993.
Yeah.
Every kid's going to fucking blaze it.
It would just be like this 2 hours, like 2 hour and 45-minute show where like a kid is just like
dead-eyed, staring
like
at the
never
screen.
Dies. And like, well, don't worry, we'll cut around it.
Instead, it's a bunch of kids like dying immediately. It's Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Yeah, over and over again. Bonk's Adventure.
Over again. Bonk's Adventure. Yeah, it was bad. It was not a good show, but man, I was into it.
Did you guys see Wizard in the theaters?
I did not.
I did.
Hell yeah.
Let me tell you
You've
about.
seen it, Kyle? Though
I have not.
You ever seen The Wizard?
You gotta go back
Never
and
seen
see
The
Wizard,
Wizard.
dude.
All I know is
Fred
Jenny
Savage.
Lewis is
Jenny
in
Lewis.
it, and it was the first appearance of Super Mario Brothers 3.
3, yeah.
That's all I know.
So let me tell you, The Wizard, a movie, could not be made in the present day because Super Mario Brothers being in it, 3 being in it, would have been revealed immediately on fucking Newsarama and Ain't It Cool News.
Yeah.
But
also because an underage Jenny Lewis flashes an adult man to distract him so that they can like sneak into the game, if I recall correctly.
There's definitely a part where
she's a runaway, so lost cause.
Yeah,
the rules don't apply.
There's 100% a part where so there's this bounty hunter tracking Fred Savage and his because they're 2 lost kids, so they send this guy after him to track him down. And he finds them they're in Las Vegas, and they're in a casino. And he finds them, and Jenny Lewis's character
that's what it is.
Really loudly goes, "He touched my breasts."
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
And then this man who's just trying to do his job gets presumably murdered by 2 truck drivers who like overhear this. Like, you never see him again, I don't think, in the movie.
Well, I'm glad the Wizard is finally breaking down the problems with the Me Too movement.
Oh my God!
Hey, let's do a podcast.
These MO-less shows are trouble.
They're rough. Also, The Wizard is straight up like a studio executive was like, I think kids would really like Rain Man if it was about video games instead of like Blackjack, because it's the same movie.
It is a Nintendo commercial.
Yeah, it is straight up.
Sure.
There's a kid with a power glove.
It was the first time you saw the. It's so bad. Yeah. Well, you know all the references.
Yeah, I know the references. I've just never seen it.
You on that zeitgeist? All right, let's just do this.
Let's just do it.
Welcome back. We are definitely afraid of the dark. It's the scary movie podcast for people who are scared of everything. My name is, that's the slogan. Yeah, we're 18 in and it's finally busting someone up. My name is Stephen Smith. I'm scared of everything. Pregnant pause.
And I'm Kyle Romero, and I'm a big brave boy.
We are MLS this week. And you know what that means? We went and saw a movie in the theater, but we couldn't do it alone because I guess like toxic masculinity says that 2 men can't go to a movie together by themselves. They have to bring a third man along, and that third man just so happens to be a We Are Definitely Afraid of the Dark superstar, all-star. You recognize him from episode... He's our friend, comedian, writer, improviser, and font of movie and pop cultural knowledge, Devon Coleman.
Yes.
You can call me Harry Lime because I'm the third man.
That's the kind of stuff we like having you on for. Wait, did we watch Freddy?
Yeah, we watched.
I was in the moment thinking like, I think it was one of those like tent pole classics.
Mm-hmm.
Frederick Charles Krueger himself.
The ghost with the most.
The man of the tagline for Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is the man of your dreams is back.
Are you sure they were already 2
good.
movies in and they're like, let's fucking abandon this.
Crazy.
Let's make him a.
Let me give you one more, Steven.
Okay.
Predator 2 tagline is he's in town with a few days to kill.
What? Not this new one that's real tongue in cheek.
Nope.
The original Predator. Okay.
Predator 2.
He's in town.
Pretty good, actually.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
To be honest.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Last time they made history, this time they are history.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
I think that's good work.
That's good. The art of the tagline is dead.
All right, we've got 45 minutes left. Go.
Back to the Future Part 3. First they went to the past, then they went to the future. This time they may have gone too far.
Oh, well, it's long.
Yeah, that's
long.
A mouthful.
It's as long as the movie.
As the movie. Yeah. All right, now do one and then let us guess what the movie is.
Oh shit! Let's see if I have
like
let me see if I actually have another one. I think I ran out.
Well, just like that's a seed that I've planted.
Okay,
we can revisit that well a few times. Should something arise?
That's a great idea. Wow.
Yeah, good segment.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. If only there was like I don't know, like a community in Austin that is ripe for talk and or game shows. We might be able to explore this idea further, but let's bury it. So what did we do? We just got back from watching The Nun. I was going to say our spirits are low. It is an overcast day. We went to a noon showing 4 weeks after this movie came out. So it was us and a sprinkling of teen goths. And
thank God.
And like a middle-aged couple who laughed a lot.
Who laughed?
There was one woman of that couple was not laughing. She was just kind of she was giving the like Dios mío like anytime something terrible happened.
Is she the one who took a photo at the end?
No, that was the mom
of
the
teen goths.
Okay.
I thought
that was the mom.
Was it the mom?
Because I was in the theater before the show started, and I experienced a lot of conversation that went "mom" at the beginning.
Would she at least play it cool and sit like a couple seats?
She absolutely did.
Away?
She sat far away from them.
Incredible. Like when that happened, for it, just so the audience knows, it's like the credits are still rolling, the lights are still down in the theater, and someone gets up and taking her teen goth daughter and her friends to see The Nun. I'm so charmed by that. That's
very
so
charming.
sweet.
So to describe, I mean, they're straight out of a goth central casting. I mean, there was black with some pops of color, some pentagrams, like graphic tee pentagram work going on, and then just all shapes and sizes.
They're sort of tightrope walking on the like planters outside the theater. Like it was dangerous, but it wasn't.
Well, there was also like because I got there an hour early for some reason, and so I just sat in my car doing some work, not just watching teens in a natural environment. I want to put that out there. But I was tapping away on my computer, and I looked up at one point in time, and there was a youth who wasn't with the goth contingent, who was just by herself, kind of like talking and gesticulating wildly to herself, and then pulling things off of like local plants and like kind of hacky sacking with them. And then the goths were had like you could see the disdain for this weird regular kid radiating off of them. But I'm like, goths, you every day you put on your armor and you're very countercultural, but this fucking weirdo coming to a movie alone by herself and is hacky sacking like plants and shit. Y'all need to roll with her.
Yeah,
you need to get your
that's the person who you need to invite in your crew.
The ball's in your court.
yeah. So if you're listening to this, goths,
we're on your side. We want the best for you.
Fair enough. So this movie's been out, what, 4 weeks?
Yeah, 3 or 4, something like that.
So we think that this is like more or less the sweet spot for us, where it's like enough people have potentially seen it that we're not like in like egregious spoiler territory, but it's still in theaters, so it's like not like people have forgotten about it, and it's not like obviously it's not a new classic, this particular movie. But
to be clear, we are going to spoil it for you.
We are going to do that. Yeah. But I think like it made a fuck ton of money.
Oh my god,
$310 million.
That's
I looked it up,
and it made what, like 7 to make it?
22.
Okay, very cheap. Because I mean, arguably, like nobody famous is in this. There's like a lesser known Farmiga or Farmiga sister.
Yeah, there's a sub-level Farmiga, and then
whoa.
Sub-level.
She basically anchors American Horror Story.
That's true.
She does?
That's true.
So she can get that money, especially for a movie like this.
Okay,
because that's your crowd.
That's like her,
those teens watch American Horror Story. Those goths.
Hell yeah. Wait, so she's because I've only seen like I think the first season of that.
She's the daughter in the first season.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, and she's the.
She still looks like a young teen girl. Though.
She
just
is a child,
perennially young looking. Yeah. Okay.
And Demian Bashir, the guy that plays the priest, he's like a big international star. Apparently, he's big in Mexico, I think, or South America in general, actually. Okay. But so no one like there's no like American movie star person in this movie.
What about the guy who played Frenchie?
I don't know who the fuck that guy is.
Let's see what Frenchie did with his life up till now.
Is the guy from is the guy who played the priest? Is he in that like sexy Wachowski's show on Netflix?
Since 8?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. I've never seen it.
Okay, well, whatever.
He's in an FX series that has since ended called The Bridge.
Okay, which was like a remake of like a Swedish thing.
Yeah.
Okay, but now it's like on the border, the southern border.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Paso,
Okay, anyway, we saw this fucking movie. I
Frenchie
think
was in Valerian, so he really needed this.
The guy playing a character named Frenchie was in the most French movie that's ever been made, which is Valerian Rise of the whatever.
They were able to squeeze the filming of this in between different like international fashion weeks so that the cast of Valerian could be in it. Let's just like show all of our cards and talk about what each of us individually know about this Conjuring cinematic universe. That's what they're doing, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely what they're doing.
So, Devin, you've seen
Zero.
This is fascinating to me because I feel like you are.
This was my Avengers Infinity War, where like people are like, I'm just gonna go see it.
I just like that Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, exactly. I wish a cute guy would wake up drunk in my house. I think I've seen like The Conjuring. Mm-hmm. I saw it by myself as spurred on by this this unholy task, this sort of ill-fated project that we've got going on here.
You nasty boy. You're going outside the podcast, trying to get an extra taste.
I am. That's the one that's like... Remind me of which one that one is, though.
That one is essentially the Amityville Horror. Right. It's a haunted house.
It's the hot couple.
Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. They're sort of the anchors of the entire universe. And then Ron Livingston from Office Space.
Ron Livingston was in The Conjuring?
Yeah, he's the dad.
God damn.
Yeah.
Which is he's I mean, you know,
he's like doing his everyman thing.
He's in that new show where he's like killed himself, and the whole premise is that like the most famous person in the show is dead already. Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, I've seen the trailers of that.
Sean Spencer from Psych is in it. I only know him by his character name. Just kidding. It's James Roday.
Side quest. You fuck with trivia, and do you want to make some money? Let's go dominate some trivia.
Yes and yes. I've done it before. I'll do it again.
We need to do like some horror trivia or something of that like.
Oh, you said you were surprised that I've never seen. I interrupted you.
No. Oh, well, my point is, I do think of you as like this sort of like stalwart representative for all popular culture. So these are relatively new, though. Yeah. So like maybe you just haven't gotten to it yet, but like, I mean, I do imagine a big wall calendar in your living room. It's just like, I got it. So why haven't you seen these?
I don't know. You know, like it's called The Conjuring, and it's basically like you said, Amityville, and I've seen Amityville. Yeah. I've seen them all. I've seen Amityville 3D. Yeah, I've seen them all.
All right.
The sequels are better.
To this movie?
To Amityville.
Okay. Because The Conjuring, you know, I don't know.
I feel like The Conjuring was pretty good. I think the thing about these movies that I forget is they're like essentially like is like the religious element and the possession element requires essentially like an exorcism in every one of these movies, and that's like not being done in any interesting and new way. So it's a bit of a disappointment. So Conjuring's scary for me. Obviously good enough that like they broke open this whole universe. But you're right. I do think it is like well-trod territory.
The Conjuverse.
The Unijring. Nope, doesn't work. But wait, so what are the movies? We have Conjuring. In Conjuring, they set up
Annabelle. And then after that, we got
Conjuring
2.
And which one is that?
That's the one where they go to London.
Haven't seen it. Okay.
They do the I forget the name of it, but it's a famous poltergeist haunting that is pretty universally regarded as a fake. Like pretty much everybody is like,
is it
this
Pipes?
Is obviously a fake one.
Well, so and then
is it Pipes from Ghostwatch?
Off mic, you guys were talking about this. You think this historical couple that The Conjuring is based on are
I don't think
charlatans?
No, they are 100% hucksters. Ed and Lorraine Warren are hucksters.
But much like if you ask an undercover cop if they're a cop, they have to tell you, I think you're not allowed to say based on true events before a movie if it's not true.
Oh no, you absolutely can, Steven.
Maybe you've seen Fargo.
Wait, what?
You can just lie to people.
I'm very gullible, so I believe everything I read. And I love the New York Post. Thank you very much. So what is the backstory on this couple? They're just
they got famous because of the Amityville horror event.
Yeah.
This family wrote a book about their Amityville horror experience. And Ed and Lorraine Warren were like the people that shepherded them along that. They basically coached the family to be like, this is what you saw. We will work with you. We'll say we're spiritualists, and we'll put out all these doctored photos and stuff. And
we'll get James Brown. We'll get Margot Kidder. We'll do this.
Yeah. And then, sold the film rights, and then it just sort of became cemented as a truth that they were like, well, they just did all kinds of talk show appearances.
And did they just create did they do this multiple times so that there's like this
they have a few, not as famous, but
the Amityville horror is like their biggest known case. And then,
but they fooled other people.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's in the classic American huckster style. They just like committed to this is true, and we are. Yeah, this is what we are, and they built a mythology around it, and they did it very effectively. But also, like in the benefit of hindsight, it's like, oh, these people are obviously just straight up lying.
Oh, cool.
It was also in the 70s, so it was easier to
like
there was no like worldwide system to tell people these guys are frauds. I would say, and don't get me wrong, folks, I am a slob, but I would say that their last great con was getting Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga to play them.
Yeah. Ed and Lorraine Warren are not attractive people. Yeah. Ed Warren is like a Long Island slob dock worker. He's just like going on talk shows and be like, yeah, we saw a ghost and we wrote a book about it, and then go do something like this. You know how you do it.
They did not look like international spies.
They did not. Yeah. Not a couple you would want to have a devil's triangle with.
Jesus Christ.
We're just trotting it out there.
Let me give you my two alternate titles for The Nun.
Okay.
Sister Act 3, The Wrath of God. And five films, None the Richer.
I just want everybody at home to hear that slow clap.
Yeah.
Good work.
Very nice.
Wait, let me get this straight. You were writing jokes on the way over here? You motherfucker.
I was writing jokes in the movie because
Kyle and Devon both fell asleep, dozed,
straight up fell asleep. Yeah.
I didn't. My head, I have a splitting headache, and I was doing my coping mechanism of sometimes bringing my shirt up over my face like a protective veil, poking as hard as I possibly can on my ears like a vice to block out some of that sound, and then having this general heat, this sort of like radiating heat around my ears because I was abusing them so much over the course of the movie. This is okay. This movie sucked.
Yeah,
we'll get to the official ratings.
Well, I just there's something I got to bring up.
Okay, please.
You also started. It seemed like you started getting a stress headache when the channel that the movie was on was all snow, folks.
Oh yeah,
HBO was out at the theater. It was very bizarre.
This
very
movie
weird.
Started real late. I think it was longer than they said it was online. We were lied to on many fronts, but it was just I don't know, like not particularly good.
No.
It was sort of joyless. And here's the thing. Like normally I like that sort of thing when we watch like a really good one and it's genuinely scary and then you're like kind of like I feel alive like whenever the movie is over with like I get like, everything's bright, all the colors are bright, things taste better and stuff like that. But this one was like kind of like it's a bit disappointing, and then I feel like a fool because I got sort of like worked up by stuff that like wasn't scary.
The old
it's just,
tricks, gotcha.
It's just dumb shit. You know, if somebody's got their back to a door, to an open doorway that's like all black, all shadow, something's going to pop out of it. But I fall for it anyway. And then it didn't even add up to something. So that's a bit.
Yeah, it was all juiced. Like jump scares
that's all it was.
Always juiced because it's always the music.
Yeah, it's always the music that does it. When it's the music that does it, that's when you're like, okay, this is a bit much. Which, like, I don't mind a cheap jump scare every now and then. But this movie is just like, there's nothing else to glean from it. Like, it's so tedious. It's just like the lamest Satan tropes,
Yeah.
and like not even applied in an interesting way. The most interesting part of the movie, I thought, was the part when they were like telling the backstory of the Abbey and how it was built by this crazy dude who was like trying to conjure a demon. And there's like
that was cool.
Pentagram on the floor, and there's like bodies hanging upside down, and they're bleeding into the floor.
This
demon comes out. Yeah. And then the church comes in.
Then the Knights Templar come in.
The Knights Templar come in and cut his fucking head off, and then seal the hole with the blood of Christ. It's like, that movie sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That is maybe 5 minutes of this movie, if that.
Well, there's two movies buried inside of that precede the movie that we watched. It's like the origin story of this unholy abbey, and then it's every nun getting straight up killed by the demon before they show up. All of that stuff, I think, probably would have been more interesting than what we actually watched, I think. But
that reveal was kind of cool that all the nuns were actually dead already.
Well,
it's fine.
I think I was confused because it seemed like they were all dead, and then when they were like suddenly all there, I was like, "Wait, what? Like this has got to be a trick."
See, I had forgotten any of that by the time. That's for me. That's the key to a bad movie. Like I forget what comes before.
Yeah. And
like anything, because like I was like, it was fine. Not in this movie. That reveal was fucking a masterpiece in this movie. I was like, oh my god, something to hang my hat on a little bit.
Well, so what we've been trying to start doing is, and as sort of like swift a fashion as possible, is doing like a quick synopsis of this to kind of ground people who haven't seen it in the conversation as we just jump willy-nilly all front up, back, down, all over this the sort of plot. Normally we have Emma do that. She has 60 seconds to recap the entire movie. She's not with us this week. Does anybody feel like they're up to the challenge?
You're talking to two people who literally fell asleep. But
give it a try.
I can maybe take a crack
Emma's
at it.
Watching 20% of any given movie, so this is a good opportunity for you guys.
Oh yeah,
to
the full experience.
Yeah, I'll take the holder, please.
Yeah, I can take the lead on this. Steph, if you want to just tag in,
yeah.
Maybe if I'm floundering a little bit.
Okay, your time begins now.
Okay, so we start with this little cold open with these two nuns, and they're unlocking a door. It says "God ends here" on it, and they unlock it, and whatever. One of the nuns gets dragged in, and then the other nun is like, "Gotta go," and she hangs herself by jumping out of the window. Then cut to a Frenchman finding her body hanging a couple weeks later, and then boom, title card The Nun. Cut to the Vatican. Damien Bashir is there. He's very stern looking. They want him to go to Romania to this abbey to investigate what's going on with this abbey, why this nun killed herself. So he goes and picks up the Lesser Farmiga, who they say has been to Romania, but turns out she hasn't. So I don't know what that is. She has visions. That's never really followed up on. Anyway, they go there. It's exhausting. The abbey is haunted. And then they find the demon, and the abbey was controlled by the church, and the nuns had to pray to keep the demon at bay. The nuns are all dead. The demon gets out. They finally kill it by pouring the blood of Christ on it.
And the spitting pays off.
And the spitting pays off. They set up this thing where it's like a Romanian trope where like if you hear some how does it work?
It's basically you're keeping evil at bay. So if you hear somebody mention, like, invoke evil or mention something that's spooky or evil, you spit to kind of keep it at bay. Jump to the smash cut to the end. Lesser Farmiga gargles the blood of Christ and spits it all over the demon's
in Valak's face, and then there's a whirlpool that sucks Valak
back to hell.
Back to hell.
Also, God. Come on, dude.
Step in on this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This seems like, what are your priorities? Like, what else are you working on? It's like the 50s. Everything's going great in the 50s in Romania. So, I mean, all right. Like, why does everybody have to get involved in this? Why did dozens of nuns have to die?
Yeah.
That's the real tragedy here. All right, so pretty good. I think we hit all the broad strokes there. Like,
can I do the post-credits scene that is before the credits start? Which is they tie this movie back to the first Conjuring, So the way the movie ends is like they all Frenchie, Lesser Farmiga, and international superstar Damian Bashir get out. They all survive, but the French guy's like, "Oh, my freaking neck and my back," and he's got like a cross,
upside down
cross appearing in his neck. Cut to 20 years later. We're back at the first Conjuring movie when we first meet Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're giving a lecture to a crowd, and they're talking about this case of this French guy, that was all in the first movie.
I remember.
And so that's like how they tie it in. Like that French guy was one of their first possession cases that they studied.
So then that's like essentially what they're doing with these movies. Where like the craziest thing about the original Conjuring movie, where I was like, wait, what? Like, what do you guys do now? Is like they live in this sort of like idyllic suburban home. They've got one child, and then I think somebody's like one of their mothers lives with them, and then they just have a room that is chock-a-block full of the fucking spookiest relics from their like thousands of like these cases. So it's like
so it's
Indiana Jones style.
It's like their giant penny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In the Batcave.
Exactly, but like imagine that. I guess that's probably they all were used to almost kill Batman in any given period of time. But I'm like, imagine all those things are like brimming. They're just like vibrating with evil, and then also you're like, hey, child of ours, remember, don't go into that haunted relic room. And like every kid in the world is like, that fucking rules. And so they can't wait to get in there. But I'm just like, like the skeptic in me is like, why not burn all that stuff, or like why not bury it, or do something, or like I don't know, throw it in an.
I can answer
in
this.
that sinkhole in Venezuela or something like that.
I can answer this without having seen this movie.
Okay.
You can't burn it because all the ghosts will come out.
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Only Ed and Lorraine Warren have the power.
To contain
These
it.
two Long Island dirtbags.
Can't bury it because somebody
It'll kill crops.
It'll kill crops. And someone from Queens might find it.
Hey, I'm walking here.
This is strictly Long Island business, you
Little
fuck.
New York humor.
Hey, I found this discarded doll on the Verrazano Bridge.
Oh!
Specifics for our single tri-state listener. Shout out to Austin. Next time those, if there was a couple that was from Austin that was this was based on, then these would have been more relatable. But that's the thing, right? So it's all this sort of like single continuity. Mm-hmm. So then, like, big question. Well, so many questions.
Yeah,
but,
I have a lot of questions.
But is younger Farmiga supposed to be Lorraine grown up?
No.
So what is up with this stunt casting?
Yeah, here's what we didn't exactly say yet, but these two actresses who are playing important parts in this movie are sisters.
Are sisters in real life.
And
they're like 25 years apart.
Yeah, one is much younger, and this is a prequel to the movie, so it's all very confusing. Yeah. Like if this had, I feel like it'd be less confusing if it had taken place in the same era, because you'd be like, obviously this isn't the same person.
Well, what I was expecting throughout the movie is that the nun, they're like, at the end, we're going to flash forward to years later, and her and Frenchie are together,
and
she's pregnant, and like she's given up her vows, and it's like Vera Farmiga's mom. Yeah. Like,
but the time. It's like 20 years apart. So
it's weird. I don't know.
That's why I thought they would just be Ed and Lorraine Warren.
A little bit.
Because I expected that from this Jar Garbage movie.
Yeah. Like Frenchie's like, I'm a guy from Long Island now. I dropped the accent.
I've been in America 20 years. Boom, baby.
So that's super confusing.
It's extremely confusing. But I guess
just
if you're a regular
like
ass person, then maybe you don't.
But
put it together, but
she straight up looks like her
so
sister.
much like her sister.
And so I was kind of like, why do these movies keep casting these sort of like wide-eyed, just ever so slightly Eastern European like women to play these roles? And I'm like, and then halfway through, I'm like, wait, she's got a young ass sister. This is like I didn't put all of it together. So maybe it's just
Occam's razor. There's just some producer that's horny for that type of actress, and just keeps putting them in these movies.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like if you're just a regular person, that makes it even more because if you're a regular person, quote unquote,
who's not like
not like
trawling
deep into this, you just think that Lorraine Warren is this girl. Like, there's no way for you to think anything else. I feel like, and then especially since the movie ends on a freeze frame of Lorraine Warren.
Yes.
Like.
It's so weird. And then like I find myself like trying to retroactively create circumstances in the first movie where I'm like, oh well, she is like a kind of psychic, and I'm like, she was a former nun, or she did lose her faith, or something like that. Like, is she supposed?
Well, so like,
do we just
it
not
feels
get
like I feel like there's been like a lot of cuts made to this movie because they have all that shit in there where Lester Farmiga's character is having these psychic flashes exactly like Lorraine Warren does in the later movies, and it's like, okay, are you trying to say that it's this person or not? Like, what is the connection here? And then for there to just not be one is bananas.
What was the other Conjuring? So there's Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2, Annabelle,
and then Annabelle Creations Origins.
Okay, I think I've seen the Annabelle one where it's like a bunch of kids who move into a ramshackle
like a farmhouse.
Yeah.
That's Annabelle Creations. That's the second Annabelle prequel.
Okay.
That's the one you watched on a plane with no audio.
Yeah, Devin, I fully we had Wi-Fi on this plane, so I just threw a quick text to Kyle, say, guess what? For some reason, I got the sickness, and I'm gonna watch a fucking Conjuring movie on a plane, sandwiched between two strangers, but muted it. I didn't even have headphones on, just read those subtitles. So I was like, this is pretty boring, actually, because Conjuring relies so heavily on auditory jump scares.
You were down with the sickness.
Yeah.
I actually liked that movie.
It was good.
It's good.
Annabelle, that was Creation.
Yeah.
So what is Annabelle, then?
Annabelle is also not bad. It's the first Annabelle prequel, and it's like directly connects to Ed and Lorraine Warren. I think, if I remember, it tells how Annabelle actually got like possessed.
The Annabelle doll is like sixth on the call sheet for the Conjuring movie, so she's like pretty heavily in that movie.
Pretty heavily involved, yeah.
Well,
the first Conjuring movie,
call times later in the day,
opens again with like a cold open like sequence that's just about Annabelle. Like they have that like short film at the beginning of the Conjuring, and then they're like, okay, that's done, and then now we're gonna go do the Conjuring, and then at the very end of the movie, they're like, remember Annabelle? Guess what? We're making another one. But yeah, the first Annabelle is cool because it has like cult stuff to it, where like they have this doll. It's just like normal Annabelle doll.
What was it? Yeah,
not haunted,
but terrifying.
But not haunted. And this like Manson style cult breaks into this family's house and tries to like kill this woman, but the woman Manson cult member gets like killed, and as she's dying, she like draws a pentagram on the wall, and, like puts her hand on the Annabelle doll, and is like Child's Play style.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so this is Child's Play.
It's basically Child's Play. She puts her spirit into the doll, which fucking rules. That's such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Sidebar briefly about Annabelle and Child's Play. Is that better than dying?
No,
I feel like that's
absolutely not. No,
yeah. I mean, I know that Chucky kind of had or Charles Lee. I forget his last name.
I don't know.
But he had a plan, like his doll kid. Like I'm gonna take a kid's body.
Yeah,
it sounds like Annabelle isn't as tactile as.
No, she
Chucky.
was not.
But it's still like a demonic spirit, right?
She wasn't really thinking.
You never see like Annabelle like come to life and like waddle at people or anything.
It's all the same shit we
just
saw in this movie where there's like a lot of person going like, what? Oh, it's just Annabelle. Who's there? And they look the other way and they're like, what do you think about Annabelle? You're gone!
Yeah, it's a lot of camera pans.
What do you think
so
about Annabelle?
Quick swinging cameras and then like something's there and then it's not. And then in my head, I love to imagine, I just like want a sort of like behind the scenes camera that's like filming the production of these movies where it's like somebody in like a full nun's habit who's like trying to jump in and out of shots and like crouch down so they like can whip the camera back and forth because I assume it's all practical, right?
Yeah.
It's not like somebody's doing it digitally or something.
Well, some second unit director. It's like, okay, Terrence, go. Camera's going. Okay, Terrence, go now again. Like it's just,
I just imagine,
it's fun.
Roll sound, and meanwhile she's like standing there like doing stretches, getting ready to crouch. Sound rolling.
Flicks a cigarette away as they're sound rolling.
Let me tell you one thing I really enjoyed about this movie.
Yeah, I want to talk about stuff we liked. Yes,
as someone who had never seen any of these movies, I enjoyed the previously on The Conjuring at the beginning.
So true.
Where they just showed me a few scenes that like sort of put this in context.
That's why I assumed we would have like a richer next time on The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Where it was like, like we're revisiting some of that footage where like you're in that creepy relic room and it's like, wait a minute, what's this monkey's paw? Or like some, because I guess they're just rehashing other movies.
Instead, it was Laster time on The Conjuring.
Yeah. Like, wait, and I assume we don't see the guy who's being exorcised in the first Conjuring movie. We don't see his face because they definitely did not plan that far ahead.
No, we do. You do see his
So they
face.
just brought that actor that they cast for like a weird, quick exorcism scene that's like on a film strip, and they're like, great, now we have to fucking cast that guy to be the third lead in our 5th movie in the series. He was trash.
A, that would explain why it was so bad, but B, I don't think that's what happened. I think they just recast it and reshot that part of it, maybe.
Well, that's my point. If we went back and watched The Conjuring, it wouldn't be Frenchie.
I don't think so.
Footage.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. That'd be fucking wild.
Yeah. Okay, so what else do we like about this? What worked for us? What was fun?
I'll take a shot because I know Kyle's going to need
Kyle's
some time.
Like, well, I got to go. Kyle, this is your apartment. Yeah, lock up when you're done. And
then I walk off the balcony and tie a rope around mine.
I have a few questions.
Okay, perfect.
About the Conjuring cinematic universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, by reading the Wikipedia, so this movie ends with on the footage, Frenchie grabs Lorraine Warren and she starts screaming. Yeah. And at first I was like, what the fuck? Like, she's like good at this. She's like a pro. Like, when you scream, you don't scream. But Wikipedia lets me know that she had visions of Ed dying.
Yeah.
Which I don't fucking know, but I guess you know if you've seen these.
But
so that's what happened.
A brief glimpse of that at the very beginning when they said last time The Conjuring, where you see him get like
but I just figured that happened in the movie. Like I would have never connected those two things. Yeah, without seeing it. But yeah, that makes sense. Also, by the way, I don't know if that happens in these movies, but Ed Warren definitely lived a long life. He did not die valiantly or whatever. Maybe he died valiantly.
I think they're both still alive in the universe. In the cinematic universe.
In the cinematic universe, they're both still alive.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I can see more
money.
I get more Patrick Wilson, baby. So they've dealt with the nun before. Like this is an origin.
That's
movie,
what
right?
I couldn't remember, like how she showed up. Like, because there's a painting of her.
Yeah,
I mean, if anybody's really into this series of movies, this is fucking torture for them because we're like, well, it's trash, but let's try to incorrectly pick it apart really quickly. Devin, you lead. You haven't seen any of the movies. Take the reins.
So the second one...
I'm your everyman for this.
The Conjuring 2 is where the nun first appears. And she appears as a vision to Lorraine Warren. Lorraine Warren sees the nun and she paints the nun.
Okay. And their child is older at this point.
Yeah, their child's a little bit older. She just is just like, yeah, I'm just painting what's in my head. And then suddenly steps back from it and goes like, whoa, this is scary. And it's hanging in their office. And the big set piece in The Conjuring is like that picture's up and then the lights are on and it's like, oh, it's just a painting. But then the lights get turned off and it looks like the eyes are kind of glowing and she's actually there. Yeah. And then lights back on. Oh, it's just a painting. You know, that thing.
And then they do it 10 more times. Oh, God, she's scary. Oh, it's just a painting. Turn the lights off. Oh, God.
I just imagine Ed Warren being like, I mean, look, what kind of, she painted him. Of course, I'm going to hang him in the office. What can I do? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Yeah. Yes, we can get that ghost out of your house. No problem.
Can you imagine being married to somebody whose entire gig or their entire deal is they're always kind of fainting and they're kind of dropsy and they're like, oh God, honey, we've got to we've got to travel 4 states away and just we've got to bring all of the weird equipment and our sidekick and stuff like that. We've got to help these people and then bring these relics home.
But my mom's visiting. Oh no, we'll have to cancel.
The more believable version of it would be if they left Vera Farmiga cast as Lorraine Warren, but then cast Danny DeVito as Ed Warren, because then you buy it. Because then it's like, oh, we have to go help these people. It's just like, yeah, of course you're gonna go along. It's Vera Farmiga and you're Danny DeVito.
Who's out of whose league? Ultimately.
Shots at Danny DeVito.
Can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time?
Okay, some other stuff that potentially works.
Yeah.
I love a a cross nailed to the wall, just slowly rotating counterclockwise, turning upside down. Used it twice, needed it a third time. It was super effective for me.
The best part, the most well done thing where that happens is when it's kind of the background. There's that scene in her bedroom where you're sort of focused at this nun in the foreground, and in the background you kind of look and go, oh, the cross is slowly turning.
See, I assume that is the only time when it's actually for you to hardened cynics who are not sort of as adversely affected by these movies. That's the only time it's fun to be in the theater with me, because I also am very slow on the uptake because I should be watching my corners, but I'm really focused on that nun who shouldn't be in that room because the room's locked and we can't see her face, so we know troubles are brewing. So I'm very slow to notice the indicator that it's evil. So when I do, I'm like a dog has just seen a magic trick. I'm like, whoa! Yeah. Like, this is crazy!
That full on did happen at that specific moment.
Sure did.
And it was great. Because it's not quite like that. It's even better. It's less like I see it, and then, I don't know, 30 seconds? Yeah, 30 seconds at most. But yeah, probably 10, 15. I just hear Steven go,
that was pretty cool. I think that was super effective. It's weird. I'm not Catholic, so it's weird. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's legitimately scary, but always it's recognizable that there's like a silhouette of a nun in the shadows. Yeah. Like that's a pretty effective kind of like visual motif.
I will say this was like not as Catholic as I wanted it to be.
Interesting.
Like they pop by the Vatican
because they're like in a nunnery the entire time.
They are in a nunnery. They're in a nunnery, but I don't know. It just felt so removed from that. Like the nun, the abbey is like this unholy abbey, so it's not like a real thing necessarily. And then I don't know.
Well, it's also like a Dark Ages castle.
Yeah.
So there's like gates, and then like above ground coffins with like the relief of dead knights and stuff like that. So it feels weirdly medieval, not like how we think of as like spooky Catholic shit.
And you could kind of remove the nun stuff from it, and it would be roughly the same movie. Like it wasn't super.
It's just a haunted castle.
It's just a haunted castle movie, basically.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be extremely Catholic.
I also thought it was weird that the two main characters, the priest and the nun, were sort of set up as rebels. Yeah. And then they just went pretty par for the course and by the book in this movie.
There was that confusion. So she's like a nun in training, and she's like, he finds her at a convent in London or something.
He sent for her.
Oh, right.
The Vatican sent it.
You mentioned that in the recap. That's like super confusing. Where he's like, oh, we've specifically chosen this woman. Now
because
it's presumably
she's familiar
because
with Romania,
and she has no connection to Romania.
So here's what I was thinking.
It's just her visions.
This is what I was thinking. The one bishop knew about her visions. And I was thinking that like that was part that maybe it was like we can't, as a bishop, I can't officially talk about her visions, but I got to move these chess pieces. Is the impression I got.
Yeah, maybe he's had his own vision that she's the one that needs to be.
Trust me, I am stitching that together. Like, and also, the movie was not.
The movie
giving
doesn't
us that.
give you any of that.
Like her visions are essentially like these horrifying things. They're never the same, but she always wakes with this sort of phrase ringing in her head that's like, "Mary will point the way." And then when it's time for Mary to point the way, this dumbass nun doesn't even recognize it, and the father has to be like, "Hey, Sister Irene." Check out Mary over there. Her fingertip is glowing, and she's literally pointing in some sort of like cardinal direction. Like, so why was she there?
The lamest shit. Yeah. The absolute lamest shit.
I loved her moment of like, I gotta cut through the noise and find him. Like all these bells are ringing. Let me find the right bell.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was like an episode of Psych. Where it's just like, I'm just gonna use my fake psychic powers that are really just powers of observation.
The thing about demonic power, like, to me, is, like, kind of confusing. So, like, so there's a moment in time when both these dummies get up in the middle of the night because they think they hear something in the, like, abandoned rectory that they're staying in, because straight up a dead nun whose face they never see but who they follow implicitly tells them, like, you can't stay here tonight. Tomorrow, all your questions will be answered. P.S. They weren't when they came back the next day. But she's like, go stay in the rectory. They have a meal. I'm like, there's food in the rectory? Like, they didn't bring that food with them, did they? Anyway, I'm getting lost. So they both go to sleep. They wake up in the middle of the night because they hear shit, and they end up in this sort of like graveyard of dead nuns that's like outside. It's on the property, but like outside the building. Okay, so bad idea following those sounds. Like, that's crazy to go outside. You know this is an unholy place. You stay in bed. Stay in bed at a minimum.
Which Steven said out loud.
Yeah,
during the
like,
movie. It was great. I mean, we saw this at Galaxy Highline. This is Wild West. You can say whatever you want during the movie.
And there's nobody really in the theater. So anyway, through like some sequence of events, like the ghost of a dead boy surprises the priest, pukes up a snake, and then the snake spooks him, and he falls backwards into an open grave. And then the coffin that's in that open grave slams shut, and then like the ground is completely like filled in and grown over. So like,
and there's a headstone that says "Here lies Father
Right.
Anthony," whatever his name was. So by the way, I really liked that moment until I realized that wasn't the last we'd see of him.
yeah,
Like if that had been like
If he had died,
nobody died in this movie.
that'd been really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Frenchie at a minimum should have died, but he's our continuity to the rest of the movie. So like the father somebody should have died.
Yeah, there were zero stakes.
Or they should have brought some of those like Romanians along with them to like carry their bags, and then those suckers should have died or something. But anyway, like
Everyone who was gonna die was already dead.
was that already dead?
Yeah.
And so like the ground was remade, so there's that thing, and then like and then when she's praying, when she's doing the kind of like perpetual adoration, and all the nuns get like blown apart like bowling pins, and then her like habit is ripped open, and she gets a pentagram slashed into her back, and then that's not real. So like they're playing tricks on you, and like, but it's all mental.
Yeah, I guess.
But she dug out the grave.
That's the thing. Is it's like
what are the rules?
There was no establishment of the rules. There was no. My biggest thing is like, what does it matter if Valak gets out? Like, no one is telling me. Yes, Valak is a demon. Great. What is Valak going to do? What is his goal? Like, is he going to consume the world in fire? Is like, what's his deal? Like, is this
he's
some
just
sort
the
of
defiler? So he's like gonna like. He's gonna like go with like a crucifix and be like, it's close to my dick, or like, hey man, stop defiling the crucifix.
Yeah, come on, man, that's not cool.
But I did like that Valak respected her modesty, like
just tore a little bit of it.
just opened enough
to
I just gotta make this pentagram. Didn't have to be big. Just gonna get you at the shoulder.
Yeah.
We're good here. I mean, we're good.
I'm just gonna give you a shoulder tattoo that you're gonna have to cover up.
So, I mean, like, of course, I know that that's joyless to be like, what are the, like, that doesn't make no sense, but
no.
Like, but
so here's the thing.
It's particularly egregious in this movie. And you know I don't give a shit about that stuff.
You're right.
But
I would like to relay an anecdote that relates to this.
Okay, perfect.
So I was reading an interview with Brad Bird this was back when he directed Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Love it.
And he was talking about the, like, flexibility of a movie, and he talked about how his mother, when he was a kid, went to see Goldfinger. Too many Bond movies. Goldfinger.
His mom loved playing GoldenEye.
Yeah, she got that golden gun. And the next morning, he was a kid, so the next morning when he saw his mom, he was like, asked her how she liked it, and she said, I wasn't home and in bed before I realized how thoroughly my leg had been pulled. And that's what a good movie is.
Yeah.
The reason you were thinking about the rules is because there was nothing on screen happening that was interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's and so like I feel like it's not joyless to question the rules.
You're right.
It means the movie was joyless.
Yeah.
Like the movie's fault.
It was throwing so much at the wall, like that you're just kind of like, well, I don't really like it's like stakesless then at that point in time.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Like it seemed like that was an abandoned abbey when they got there. We all know when we're watching it that weird shadowy figure in the veil that's like giving them orders is some unholy kind of thing, but they listen.
Or at least the gast of
something. And so when the nuns start showing up, which we later find out is a what is that then?
I thought that was real. They were just ghosts.
Spirits?
Yeah.
So it's their ghosts. It's the ghost of those nuns. Because
why would Valak what I felt like.
Take the form of nuns to help her?
I don't think that's what happened. Yeah, I think it was actually...
I didn't even think about this until this moment, though, where I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Well, part of me is just like, oh, I was sleeping. I feel like I missed something.
Did you really legitimately doze off?
I dozed a little bit, yeah. It was fucking boring, man.
I for sure rested my eyes.
It was
I definitely was resting my eyes.
Some movies perform the sin of, like, a big exposition dump in the beginning where they're like, listen, we overloaded this, so we're just gonna we're gonna do this right now, and it's gonna be a little painful, but we're just gonna talk at you for 2 minutes, and then you'll know what's happening for the rest of the movie. This movie never stops with the exposition, so that is also like where it just feels like you're kind of being told something is going to happen instead of watching it happen.
Mm-hmm. So that happens. So sometimes in cinematic universes, as Marvel has made popular, sometimes it's just a movie that is just an info dump. Like, we just got to get you to the next movie with this movie. Yeah. Iron Man 2 is a great example. We just got to get you to that next movie. We just got to introduce Black Widow and get to the next movie. One thing that I think they did smart, and who knows if this was on purpose, is that, because I thought about this during the movie, it's the fact that they never made it, like, if she saw Frenchie and the father, they were Frenchie and the father. It was never a trick. And that had to happen in this movie because there are only 3 main characters. And if you start doing that shit, you don't care. I mean, we didn't care either way. But you don't care anymore because you're like, nothing is real. If I can't trust that when the main characters run into each other, so that at least they did. That at least they kept, pretty clean. Because there's no instance that I remember of any of them seeing each other and they weren't each other.
No, I don't think so. And Valak never tried to lie to them about
it. Nor were any of them ever really possessed and turned on each other or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, not till the very end.
At the very end,
when she was
Farmiga gets possessed by Valak. And then
Frenchie
has to rub a little blood on her face.
I'm French Canadian, baby.
Yeah, that was
a real conquer.
Woof.
It is weird because they think that Frenchie is a funnier character than he is, because we all know he's coming back from the Romanian village at some point in time to save them, at their darkest hour.
And they gave him nothing.
I mean, and it's like, I'm back, and he's like, oh, Frenchie, thank God. Like, after he knocks the head off of some reanimated corpse, yeah, this is like a zombie movie.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I did not expect this much zombie shit in this movie. Yeah. And it was fucking lame. It was just not good.
All right, was there anything else? How we, before we kind of get into doing scoring and then, what we need, scariness rating in terms of that kind of stuff, what other good stuff? How did this movie make so much money? 300 plus.
People, the market was starved, first of all.
It's a recognizable brand.
Yeah, it's part of a franchise.
It's part of a franchise now. It's established.
But the market is starved, but it's October.
It wasn't when it came out, though.
Oh, you're right. It was
it was mid-September.
Yeah, okay.
Or actually earlier, maybe beginning of September. And at that point, there was nothing that took it this seriously. I can't remember what horror movies came out earlier than this, but there really was just not a lot. I remember when The Nun came out, and as a horror fan being fucking finally, yes.
You're psyched. And then I was like, I wouldn't let you see it.
Yeah.
It probably would have been better in a bigger crowd.
Yeah, it probably would have been better opening night, but I mean, not much. It's just so fucking. It's just like that blue-gray color palette thing where it's just The Conjuring 2 was that way too. There's just no
gray ass London.
Yeah.
There are moments where I'm watching this movie and I'm like, come on, what? There was a moment very early on where I was like, you got your answer, leave. And I think I probably said it out loud because we're not in the draft house. But but it is this thing of they really are way over the top with this being a spooky abbey, because there's so many hallways that are just filled with artisanal ramshackle crazy looking crosses just filling, and that's kind of cool for me. I'm like, that's pretty spooky. And then there's they must have if there was a $20 million budget, at least $1 million was spent on dry ice to make all of the fog.
Yeah. The opening scene of the two nuns opening the door, I laughed because there's classic fucking Ed Wood fog on the ground. And I also really liked, I laughed because I thought, oh, cool. It wasn't laughing at the movie. I was like, this is ridiculous. I hope the rest of the movie is like this. It was not.
Yeah.
Except there's a couple parts where when he's reading the book that tells you what Valak is, and it looks like the Necronomicon, and there's all these weird drawings in it. I'm like, yes, fuck yes, cool. Whoever got to make that book is my fucking hero.
Yeah.
And then pulling an Emma, the lighting was good in some parts. When they had like that red lighting, they had like a little bit of blue in it.
But it's always like a rosy kind of
like the cross is backlit.
It's always shining on like a crucifix that has no head on it. Like,
well, when he's reading that book, he's in like the grand hall, and it is like red. It is like Suspiria red. Like full on flood, and I'm like, yes, more of that. Can these movies have some fucking color in them, please?
Well, I mean, they're just sort of like on autopilot, I would imagine at this point, like because you're just like, well, these are guaranteed money makers. Like the people who are the initial kind of creative kernel of like getting this going are only tangentially involved. Like James Wan just sort of like comes up with a story, but he's not going to direct it or write it.
I love this story by James Wan and the director, and I just imagine James Wan going, hey, I only like. What if she spits blood of Christ in his face?
James, you're going too fast.
Okay, I gotta go make Aquaman now.
Can you build something around that? Dracula's castle. Gotta go. Got this Aquaman thing.
Yeah.
Just call me, I guess, if you need some more. Who's good? What if we got a Vera type? Like someone younger. I mean, don't get her sister. Don't do anything stupid.
That'd be crazy.
Just like get someone kind of younger.
They're just like, I thought you said to get her sister.
And he goes, okay, it's not your fault.
Her sister is how much younger than her? How does that work?
I wasn't clear on it. It wasn't your fault.
Are they half sisters? No,
they're full on sisters.
What? This is like one of those things where like the body's like, one last egg for old time's sake. Here we go. Well, you're pregnant.
One thing I really enjoyed, and I wish there was more of this tone, was every time someone ran into a dead nun and the dead nun lifted her head, there was a fucking pork rinds crackle.
Well, there was my spiritual cousin in this showing, the woman who would go her, and then me going like doing that like tisk noise because I was like, you dumb motherfuckers. But like she and I were not here for the like spine crackle every time, and there was like literally a whole set piece where it's like a room full of what was that game? She was supposed to like it's implicitly understood that there's a room full of nuns that have blood sacks on their faces.
Yeah,
and he's supposed to find Sister Irene.
I guess, but then he doesn't. They just leave.
Well, he does, and then but then Valak's possessed her, and he's like, "You're wrong."
No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
find
he doesn't
her.
actually find her because they all
scatter.
They all just scatter and leave her there, and it's like, okay, you failed the game.
But that's the one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get these devil games.
It sucks, man.
Well, the problem
with the neck cracking thing is just like it's so emblematic of people taking the fucking wrong lessons from The Exorcist.
Yep.
And it's like they think that the scary thing is her twisting her head around.
The scary thing is the Foley.
Yeah, like the scary thing is the noise, and it's like it's not the head turning around. It's the fact that the head turning around is related to the body that they found at the bottom of her stairs with its head turned around. Right. It's fucking Linda Blair saying like, I killed this guy. Let me twist my head around and show you what I did to him. Yeah. Like that's scary. It's not just the ratcheting of the neck.
I mean, the biggest problem I think with this film is that we never. So the audience needs to know what needs to happen, even if the characters don't know what needs to happen. Okay. There was never a point where we need, like, by the time she was like, we have to seal, I was like, oh, we do? We have to seal the gate? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like, also, like, you could probably just let it chill for a couple of weeks, come back with more firepower, and then, like, let somebody else do that.
Yeah, go back to the Vatican and be like, hey, we super duper definitely have a demon here. Yeah. Can you guys send in the fucking cavalry, please?
Yeah, you still have like a weird Crusades army, like in a basement somewhere.
Give me that secret army.
Like sharpening their swords. Yeah.
Like it just always seemed like, oh, we gotta find this dead nun.
That whole part felt like the fifth act of the movie, too. Yeah. It was like, oh, wait, there's more to this, where they're like, all right, guys, the crew's back together. That gang you don't care about is finally back together. Right. And she's like, Father, give me my vows. But I did love that thing because I was like, you know what? Catholicism, having a bit of a rough go lately, but it fucking rules because it does look cool as shit.
Yes.
Like, where there's like an ash pile where they burnt up the dead good friend, and she's laying like in a sort of crucifix position on the ground, and she's got like a blank or like a sheet over her face, and
I
he's
don't
like,
think that's how the vows are administered.
my dude,
is it?
you can't put it in the movie if it's not real. See my previous statement about true events and etc. But like, it looked cool as fuck.
It did look cool.
What I also love about it too, it's practically they're in totally different clothes before they do that. So it's like time to do the vows. Also time to put on my battle vestments or whatever. So
Turn around, boys.
Yeah, he's wearing a totally new thing. She's got a new dress on. Frenchie still looks like shit.
He's cocking his shotgun.
Yeah. Frenchie also smells like shit probably because when they first introduce him on his farm, the father is like noticeably pinching his nose like, ugh, gross. Yeah. Anyway, but that looked cool. But that was like the 17th act of this movie. It was like,
God,
I kind of thought we were done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one other thing that I wish had been more of the tone of the movie is when they get the blood of Christ. And Frenchie goes, holy shit. And the father goes, the holiest.
Again, there's like all these weird laugh lines.
And I'm like, if this whole movie had like dumbass jokes like that,
we would have been.
Yeah, it'd been good.
Been way more into it.
Psyched. Yeah.
If this movie had been The Predator.
Yeah, I just wanted it to be The Predator.
But there was just no like goal. Like it was like, we're going to find it. Because like their concept of the goal
is to investigate the dead nun.
Yeah, and like give her a burial, basically.
Yeah.
And once they did that, they should have just left.
Gone home.
Like, I mean, there was no reason for them to think they needed to stay.
Yeah. Right.
And then they would have debriefed and been like, you know, it was kind of weird. Like, no one was around, and it definitely felt bad. And like, we're a culture of people who make decisions based on what we feel. So like, you're like, yeah, send some more firepower back there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like, I also just don't feel like there's no individual motivation for those characters to stay either.
Yeah.
Like, because she's like not even like really like fully a nun yet, and then like her history of visions doesn't really mean that like in this kind of situation she would be compelled to figure out what's going on. And then they stuck that weird dead boy on him, which was like, it just felt like retconned because they're like, we want like a demon boy to be jumping around this movie, to be hiding behind gravestones and coughing up a thing. So how do we? I'll just map it to the priest. He did a bad exorcism once and killed the kid.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Like, what?
That's what I wanted to ask too. In the Conjuring universe, is there any old one-eyed priest?
No.
So there's no reason to take his eye.
No.
There's no reason.
There will be in the future.
Yeah, now probably, but
you don't have a snake bite somebody's eye and then put on a cool ace bandage and like just throw it away and never use it again.
I don't know. They might.
Don't you think like so it's interesting casting too, because it like if he's a big star abroad and then she's got this sort of like horror cachet, like they could carry another movie presumably then. If they stay in this Catholic space.
Yeah.
Because it just seemed like, I was like, oh, cool, there must be some priest with a fedora and an eye patch who meets Ed and Lorraine Warren at some point. So when you make a movie like this, that's what, I mean, especially if you haven't seen other movies, that's what you assume is happening when something doesn't make sense. You just go, oh, it's from one of the other movies.
Explain away his eye patch from the other movies.
Well,
Absolutely not.
I think this is a grave injustice because Kyle just spent a week at Fantastic Fest watching true like
good
artistic,
movies,
very good movies.
Marquee horror.
Yeah,
and so it's welcome back to the world of the slobs with all of us plebes.
Yeah,
over at the actual Cineplex,
watching The Nun.
It's awful.
Just sandwiched in between kids who were there with their moms. So you had to come back to reality at some point, my dude.
That's how these movies make money, by the way, is that they're like, that wasn't an R movie.
No.
Yeah, this movie is for kids to get out of the house.
That's like a PG movie.
Yeah, it's for them to get out of the house and have some place to go, and like jerk each other off or whatever.
It's a babysitter.
Not in this case because the mom was there, but like she did sit a couple rows away, so anything goes, I guess. But
if you're a goth, are you like psyched about the possibility of getting a hand job while you're watching The Nun or something like that?
Yeah, you probably think it's really subversive and cool.
Yeah, like you probably aren't in your like subconscious mind, but in your conscious mind, you're like, I have decided to like this because this is my brand.
Yeah,
I think the idea of having any sort of sex act, of any like adolescent sex act in a movie theater, to me is like, it's hugely distracting. Like it's just there's like literally a wall of light like 10 feet away, and you're just like,
huge noises.
I'm sorry, I'm so conflicted. That's really distracting, but also this is great. And then whatever movie it is, be careful. You gotta be careful because that's how fetishes get kicked off.
Yeah.
Man.
Has anybody here ever participated in a sex act in a movie theater?
I have not. But the closest that I ever came.
Give me a second.
I was close. I was like pre-makeout for Jerry Maguire. So.
Well, that's like a romantic movie in a way.
I guess.
Kind of. I mean, there's like You
all
Complete Me and all that stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
I made out with somebody in K-19 The Widowmaker. Which is a sub-movie starring Harrison Ford.
You always have to fuck with crampons on your feet so you can climb up the wall and stuff like that. There is that part at the beginning of Jerry Maguire where Tom Cruise is really giving it his all with with his pre-Zellweger love or whatever. She's like, never stop fucking me. And I was like... nervously pointing to the screen like, popcorn, milady.
So once, when I was in college, my college girlfriend was like, we went to the movies and we came back to my apartment and she was ready to go. Like, super ready, right? And that movie was A Clockwork Orange.
She's like, hey, Devon, got any milk?
And the old ultra-violence.
Yeah. And we did it, and I was like, I was cured, all right. No, I was very aware of it, and I was like, this is cool.
Strange choice. Yeah.
This is upsetting and awesome.
I have a history of going on bad dates, or like not good choices for first dates, so it's like, saw The Hours. As like I told you before, we saw what do you call it? Ass to Ass. What is it?
Oh,
Requiem
for a Dream. Like these movies that like really like spoil the mood. But after one of them, the person I was on a date with was just like, "Why don't you go back to your place and watch The Matrix?" And that woman is my wife.
Yeah.
And Kyle and I will defend the full trilogy. Yes. We think it is great. It's
Matrix cast coming, spinoff. We're doing it.
It might be freshman year philosophy, but we don't give a shit.
Don't give a shit. It's fucking awesome. It slaps.
That party, underground, where everybody has this sort of like tribal dances, looks fun and sexy.
It's great. Everybody makes fun of it. It's fucking a great scene.
That underground community is really sex positive, and it's like they have daycare set up because there is kids, so those kids are taken care of, and then you get to go fuck in that cave.
Go have the
I
rave.
like those movies.
I love The Matrix.
So I've never had a sex act in a movie theater because I usually on dates go to movies I want to see.
Oh, fair enough.
So I'm like,
get your hands
we
off
can do this
me,
shit after.
Woman.
The Matrix movies are fine.
Okay.
The first one is amazing.
It's a classic.
The second one happened.
How dare you?
The third one.
Third one is.
I mean,
it's tough. It's rough sailing, but
there's a great rain fight though.
Moments in it. Yes,
they built a highway down under for that second movie.
They just
that
built a looping highway.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and rate it. We've danced around it. Well, no, we haven't. We leaned into how much I think this is not a crowd pleaser. So I'm gonna go first. Devon, you'll go last. You're the guest, so you get the benefit of the full sort of panoramic understanding of how everybody else fell in the spectrum, and then you can judge accordingly. I'm giving it a thumbs down. I'm saying it's a 3 because we saw it in the theater. But it's like a 2 in practice. Like 2 it's 2 holy blood loogies. Whatever.
Thumbs down. 100% thumbs down.
I mean, it really is gutting when you don't like it. I feel like down is up is down.
Well, yeah, it's chaotic. We are in a brave new world. But yeah, it's trash. It's really bad. And this is coming from somebody who loved Annabelle Origin's creation.
Yeah, and who is a lapsed Catholic.
And who thinks The Exorcist is the scariest movie ever made. This is garbage. It wishes it could fucking sniff The Exorcist for scariness. I give it a 2 out of 5. It's giving it a 2 instead of a 1 because there are some like decent jump scares in it, and some of the like the hallway is full of crosses. Like that's cool, it's spooky. But 2 out of 5. Man, there's just like nothing in this movie.
Doing that X-Play scoring. Give it a 2. out of 5.
Holy shit. Shout out to Adam Sessler. Yeah, I give this movie 2 out of 5 episodes of the Screensavers on YouTube.
Devin, you haven't seen any of these movies.
I have not seen any of these movies. I've watched
You're
a lot
not
of tech
Catholic.
TV. I'm not a Catholic. This movie was just like it.
You fell asleep.
It was boring. Like that's the thing. Like it wasn't bad enough to be memorable.
Yeah,
and it wasn't good. Period. Like it. I don't know. Like I didn't feel lost. Like it wasn't like, oh, I never saw these other movies. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
It was like this movie should be doing things that I don't know what's happening. Like this movie should be tied into these movies more, where it makes me interested to watch. Like I don't want to see the other movies based on this.
Running home to see Conjuring right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Patrick Wilson is in it. Only Wilson. Only Wilson. Owen
Take
Wilson.
that, Owen.
Yeah, this movie just didn't know it was a cash grab, and it worked.
But totally worked.
But yeah, this movie is not here to be enjoyed. It's here to be like.
It's here to exist.
Yeah, it's here to bridge the gap between these movies and give some sort of like. It's not even really. How do you? That's another thing. How do you give an origin to like 1,000 years old evil?
Yeah,
unless it's like. Caveman fighting this demon, which would have been really fucking cool.
Yeah, I was really surprised to find out it was set in like 1957. I was expecting it to be like
the 16th
way
century.
earlier than that. Yeah, which would have been a way better movie.
Which, like you said, the cool part is when that during that time period.
But also would have been a way more expensive movie.
That's
Swords.
exactly
You gotta
it.
have the horse budget alone would probably tip it.
You couldn't just shoot it in a
It's
castle in Romania.
Yeah.
Just the knights are coming into the castle and they're like, is it cool if we leave our horses outside? And then like, well, a tidy way to keep that budget low.
They had the holy hand grenade in this movie. They might as well have had the other, comping from Monty Python.
Jesus. Okay.
I would give it a 2 out of 5. I would give it almost a 2.5 because, like, I just enjoy the theater experience. I enjoy watching almost the only movie I've ever walked out of in my life is Saving Silverman.
All right. Yeah.
And I've seen some
Project X with Matthew Broderick.
The hot chick.
Because it was too scary.
the hot chick.
Walked out of the
hot chick. Well, you bought a ticket to the hot chick.
And, well, my girlfriend really wanted to see it. I walked out and she didn't. It was a fight.
All right.
Worth it, though.
This is in high school.
We need a replay. What was happening?
She just was really excited to see the hot chick and was very frustrated that I think it was like maybe it was a bit of a sticking to my guns thing. But I was like, I'm leaving. This sucks.
Did you guys come in separate cars?
No. I just like left, and I think she eventually came out, and then we fought about it afterwards.
Awesome. That's fun.
It was cool.
That's cool.
I also walked out of Minority Report, which was a mistake.
Why, dude?
I don't know. I don't remember. It was the scene when he's like got the fake eyeballs and he's trying to sneak back in, and then he like drops them and they roll down and it's going like like it's like a funny little thing.
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
Amblin shit.
I was like, this fucking sucks. I'm out of here. This is corny. I was wrong.
It was corny in that moment, but,
right?
Yeah.
But now I understand more about what it is, and I like it a lot.
Okay, cool.
Anyway,
all right, scores. We need them.
Yeah, 2.5 out of 5.
2.5 of what? Stick to the script.
He just said 2 out of 5. He didn't say a thing.
I did. I said 2 out of 5 episodes of the Screensavers on YouTube.
Is that? I didn't know that was a thing. I thought you were just doing.
That's what I would need to calm me down after this.
I thought you were doing like a good bit, not a.
I mean, not the bit that we've done 18 times now. You mean the bit that is the bedrock of this misguided enterprise?
Yeah.
Thanks.
The whole thing is built on that.
I give this 2.5, saying I give it a number of things out of things, out of 5 things.
All right, dude. Meta.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So I think we can all safely say, don't go see this movie.
Stay away.
Unless you're just like, I don't know, if you're just like a Conjuring completist, like this is your Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That is
like,
why it made $300 million because everyone wants to.
are hearing this and you've never seen any of the Conjuring movies, like, go watch Conjuring 1 and 2. They're fucking awesome. And even the Annabelle movies are pretty cool. Like, if you like the Conjuring movies, go watch those. Just stay away from this one. It stinks.
It's the low watermark. All right. Well, thanks for listening. I would imagine it's safe to say, because we are entering spooky season, that we'll be seeing quite a few more movies in the not too distant future.
I think so.
I'll be there.
Yeah, and so look out for more episodes with Wadad favorites, Wadad Super All Stars. But before we go, Devin, do you have anything you want to plug, or where people can find you online? Or we've got some new listeners since the last time you were on. Maybe you want to let them know what you're up to.
Oh, God, I'm not up to much. I'm like, I went to go see the Nun today. I'm not up to much. Beginning October 17th, Sugar Water Purple will be in the 8:30 slot on Wednesday.
Oh, hell yeah.
Prime time.
Prime time, baby. Come on down to Cold Town Theater.
That's awesome. Congrats. That's exciting.
I think Outside Job is opening for Midnight Society in October on Saturdays.
Yeah.
You can see Collection Agency do shows once a month somewhere.
So people just have to just follow you on Facebook.
Just follow me on Facebook. There's a Collection Agency Facebook page you can like to get information to see which two sort of pop culture related black man and white woman screenshot I use for our promos this month.
Pop culture for the promo, not in the show. You know the rule. Katie's put her foot down. No more pop culture.
Oh my God, Katie's gonna kill me
for
knowing that you know this.
Well, I think your secret's safe with us. Katie would have to listen to the last minute of a hour and 20-minute podcast. She's a busy woman. I don't imagine she will. Kyle, why don't you do those sweet Pindy promos?
Yeah. So as of the release of this episode, Pendulum's main stage Cold Town show, The Ascendant, is going to be opening. We'll have a preview show on Thursday, October 4th at 10 p.m. And then on October 6th, Saturday at 7 p.m. is our official opening. And then we are every Saturday in October after that, and also November 3rd at 7 p.m. So that's going to be fucking cool. Another Wadad promo.
Oh, yes.
We have a live show coming up in October. October 25th on Thursday, October 25th at Fallout Theater.
Halloween adjacent.
We are going to be performing at 8 p.m.
Oh,
good
look at
hour.
us.
Yeah, look at us. So come out to Fallout Theater in Austin, downtown Austin. We'll have a special guest for that. We'll do a live show, movie TBD. It's going to be super fun.
So we'll probably announce that movie soon.
We will announce that movie soon, yeah.
Cool.
Guess what?
Yeah.
I have one more thing.
Oh, hell
nice.
I just remembered.
Books.
I should not forget these things.
My man books.
October 30th, which is a Tuesday. Halloween Eve, Devil's Night if you're from the Midwest. Hellhole Halloween special, baby.
Oh, fuck yeah.
8:30 p.m. And then I think Pendulum is after that show.
Yeah,
doing a show after
We're
that.
sharing that slot October 30th.
That's going to be a good
10 p.m.
Lots of frights and thrills.
Truly.
And I know we're a little long on the promos, but one other thing I want to add, if you are still listening, go listen to my interviews from Fantastic Fest if you haven't listened to them yet.
They're very good.
I'm really proud of them. I think they turned out really nicely. I think you'll find them enjoyable, even if you haven't seen the thing. We don't spoil anything. We steer away from it. So please go check it out. I had a great time.
Awesome.
The important thing about these promos is it was my goal to have as many promos as production companies at the beginning of this movie.
Y'all, why did we not talk about the 20-minute production stings before? And then also, why did we not talk about that Shazam trailer?
Wow, yikes.
All better than this movie, though.
It's arguable.
Shazam turns into an adult man?
Yeah, it's big.
That's the thing.
It's big, but it's a superhero movie.
Okay, cool. Whatever. More on that later, probably. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks,
Bye.
Devin. Bye.
Bye.